They come at night. It was always quiet at the edge of the forest. The small cottage that stood on the hill seemed like it belonged to another time, far removed from the hustle and bustle of the modern world. Inside, the only sounds were the crackle of the fire and the creak of the wooden floorboards as Marissa paced nervously, glancing out the window every few moments. Her grandmother had warned her, "Never stay out after dusk, and whatever you do, never look out into the woods when the night falls." But Marissa, young and curious, had always dismissed the old tales as nothing more than superstition. After all, she thought, this was the 21st century. There was nothing out there but trees and shadows, nothing to be afraid of. But tonight was different. As darkness descended upon the land, an eerie chill swept through the cottage. The wind howled through the trees outside, causing the branches to creak and sway like twisted fingers reaching for the sky. Marissa tried to ignore it, curling up by the fire with her book, but the feeling of unease refused to leave. Then she heard it, a soft, distant sound, barely perceptible at first. The slow crunching of footsteps on dry leaves, the unmistakable sound of something or someone moving toward the house. She froze. Her heart began to pound in her chest as she strained to hear more clearly. The footsteps grew louder, closer, and then, just as suddenly as it began, the sound stopped. The silence was suffocating. It seemed to press against her, suffocating the air in the room. Suddenly, she heard something else, a faint scraping sound, like nails against glass. Marissa slowly rose from her seat, her legs trembling as she approached the window. She hesitated, then pulled the curtain aside, her breath catching in her throat as she peered into the darkness. At first, there was nothing, just the empty, moonlit landscape. But then her eyes caught a movement at the edge of the forest. A figure, hunched and cloaked in shadows, stood there. At first glance, it appeared to be a person, but there was something wrong with the way it stood. Its limbs were twisted, elongated, its head too large and unnaturally shaped. The figure didn't move like a human. It lurked in place, staring at her through the window, its eyes glowing faintly red in the darkness. Marissa's blood ran cold. She stumbled backward, her breath shallow as she backed away from the window. She had to get out, had to leave. But as she turned to run, she saw more of them emerging from the forest. They were coming out of the trees, moving silently like shadows in the moonlight. They all wore masks, strange, grotesque masks that resembled twisted, hollow faces. Their mouths were wide open, their eyes hollow and dark, as if they were waiting for something. Waiting for her. The floorboards creaked again, louder this time, as though something was moving in the house. She turned in panic, but there was nothing there. She had to escape. But as Marissa reached for the door, the power went out. The house plunged into complete darkness. Panic surged within her, and her hands shook as she fumbled to open the door. When she finally did, she found herself face to face with one of the masked figures standing just beyond the threshold. It reached out, a cold, skeletal hand grabbing her wrist, its grip tightening painfully. The thing's head tilted as it stared at her, its mouth opening impossibly wide. And then, in a voice that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere all at once, it whispered, "We've been waiting for you. You should have never looked." The door slammed shut, and Marissa was swallowed by the night. No one saw her again. But on nights like tonight, when the wind howls through the trees, the villagers still hear the whispers. They say the figures are out there, waiting in the woods, masks in hand, waiting for the next curious soul to wander too close to the edge. For the figures who come at night never leave.